So here is the video finally. I must admit that this video is complete of interest to me because I offer this as a service and I don't really want to share things like this. People typically charge a lot to fine tune the models. But hey, there is a other side of me who always insist on helping people or sharing a video like this, right? Guess what? I'm following the other side of me and I really want to, share a knowledge or things like this which will help people to, fine tune their own model without having to get involved in coding, right? So, in this video, I will walk you through the steps to fine tune the model for responding to Google My Business Reviews. And based on that, you can, set up a flow with the fine tune model to respond to Google My Reviews. So, before we proceed, let me show you the overview of what I will be covering on this video. We have only five steps in this. I will show you the problem here and the details, some of the important details related to point tuning, and step by steps to point tune the model and how we can use the point tune model. And there is alternative steps that you can also use. Let's start with the problem because that is the most important part of this entire video, right? So when you have a automation setup that is use the OpenAI to respond to Google My Reviews, it would typically generate irrelevant or some of the uh, responses are irrelevant to your business, right? Some of the responses are not really great. So you can see some of the examples here. If you have one setup like this, I don't think I really need to explain this because probably you have seen this already. So uh, this is the problem. So what we can do it to resolve this is we would have to fine tune the model, right? Which would allow us to train the model based on your business. So with the business model, business data you would be providing, it would respond with the better or suitable response to the Google My Business Reviews. So let's go with the second slide. Some of the important details related to OpenAI fine tuning. So I would want to make sure that you understand the cost will be pretty expensive compared to what you would be paying to ChatGPT or other models. We would be using the DaVinci model here, not the ChatGPT or GPT-3 or GPT-4 or any other models, right? We would be using a DaVinci model here because we would only be able to fine tune the model, some of the models only. For example, we have a individual model, we have a ADA, we have a Babbage, we also have a other one. I'm not particularly, I don't think I can remember that, but yeah, we DaVinci is one of the better model compared to any others. So we would be going with the DaVinci model, and you would be paying a one-time cost of fine-tuning the model. This will be one time only. So you would want to have a data set that you can train, then you would be paying the one-time cost to fine tune the model. Once you have the fine tune model, you would be paying a separate cost to use that particular model. It's not a chat gpt, it's not inexpensive as a chat gpt, but it is somewhat cheaper. I mean, I wouldn't say it's cheaper, but it is somewhat reasonable, fair pricing. That's what I would say. And there is also an alternative option, much cheaper, but it would use the ChatGPT directly. But that would require some of the manual steps. But I will also explain that in the later in this video. You can also go through that. So based on my experience, I was able to train in 200 to 300 example, and I was able to I paid like 30 $40, I think. I'm not sure if I remember this right, but it would cost you like 20 30 or $40 for training 200 examples. I would recommend having at least 500 examples, so you would have a better chance of responding to use in a proper manner. And here is what we need to have to to continue this steps, right? You would need to have a dataset containing example responses in a JSON format. Coming to the dataset is one of the important part of the OpenAI training. You don't want to mess that up. First, let's take a closer look at how dataset should look like. But before going through the dataset, you want to understand three things. You would need to have a proper structure. You don't want to mess that up, right? And you need to have a stop sequence, which is important. And you need to have a prompt and completion in the JSON. And let's take a look at the example dataset. This is how my dataset look like. You need to have a prompt here. You need to have a completion, asking it to asking OpenAI to understand this review and write based on this data. So uh, when you have more than 500 examples, you are really are training it very well. Obviously, you can have more than that, but I would say 500 is a really good number. And right now, I just have 200 examples, and it is working just fine. Obviously, you can have 200 examples, but uh, having a 500 plus examples would be very cool, and you want to make sure of that. So let's break down the prompt and completion so you'd understand better about this. We have author name and we have the star rating status. We have kind of a proper structure here. We also have a review comment. You can share we have a review comment, and we are also asking it to write a professional review. And here we have a completion where we are feeding the example response. So to OpenAI to understand this response that it would create a response based on something like this, right? When you have a negative response, you'd want to have a email or phone number attached to the completion, so it would understand that you would want to have a phone number or email to the negative reviews, so you can talk with the customers and make sure that he is the customer is getting what he wanted. So it's just an suggestion. You don't really need to have that, but obviously if you want, you can have that. Right now, my example response look like this. We have the response and we have the email address here. We also have hashtag, which is a stop sequence. We would need to have a stop sequence which allow us to make sure we are asking the OpenAI to stop responding right here after this particular sentence. So let's we have the data set ready now. Let's do the API call and upload this file to OpenAI and use it to fine tune the model. Uh, you would probably find a to link to the collection of a postman collection in the video description. You would have to import that in your postman. Right now, I have open a postman software installed in my system. You don't really need to have that, but you can also use the browser version. They have a browser version. You can also use that. Right now I have software, so I will just use the software directly. You would get a link to collection. You just have to download that and you would have to click on import button. Then I would select the collection, then it would import the collection. So we have three API calls that we would need to make. We would be uploading the file to OpenAI. We would be creating a task to create a fine-tune model, and we would be using a retry model to check the status of it. So let's start with the uploading the file to the OpenAI server. So let's start with the API token. I would need to have a API tokens. Okay, now that I have a OpenAI token here, a key, you need to go to this particular parent folder, which should allow you to add your API token. You can just add this here and click on save button. Uh, I'll just click on Control plus yes, so it would save the token. Once you do that, you would have to head over to the upload fine tune file. Then you would have to go to the body. You don't have to make a changes to anything else. You just have to go to the body, and there is this parameter that you can use it to upload the file. Select the file, you need to make sure of selecting the right file. Now that I selected, I would just need to send the request and it would upload the file to the OpenAI server. So let me let me see if I have a multiple fine tune models. So I will just make sure of using it using using the right suffix to create a fine tune model. So let me upload the file first. We are uploading the files now. It is uploaded. We have the file ID here. We need to take this particular file ID. Then we would need to head over to the create a fine tune API model. Sorry, API call. Then in the body, you don't have to modify anything else. You just have to go to the body. Then in the prime training file, you just need to change this to your file ID, which is copied from this. In the suffix, you can use something that you can remember. So I will just add as a review example or YT. So it would use this particular suffix to create a Python model name. So let me send the request and it would create a task for OpenAI to start fine tuning the model. So you can see here we would have to probably have to wait like a 13 to 15 minutes. It would start creating the start fine tuning the model. So now that we have a ID here, you would need to make sure of copying this particular ID again. This is a different from the file ID. This is the fine tune model ID which we are processing at this moment. You need to go to the retrieve fine tune model API token. So you'd have to copy and paste this over here and make API call to this API call endpoint. So you would be able to see this. Right now you can see it. Fine tuning is started. So we would have to wait 15 minutes at least to 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 fine tune the model. And you can also see here, it would cost me about $6 to fine tune the model. And let me pause this video and we would be able to see the cost over here, and we would also be able to see the 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 model here once the point tuning is done. So let me pause this and restart again. Okay, all right. So I do think I do see that point tuning is successful. What you need to do is you would need to send a request a couple of times to see the status. So right now you can see here point tuning is successful. So send the request again. You can see here the point tuning is successful, and it did cost me about $6. I would say. Let me refresh this page. We can see the cost over here. Yeah, it did cost me about $6. So it's not a lot. It would be one-time cost to you, and you would also be paying for using this particular model. But it's a very reasonable. It's also expensive when you are scaling, but for 500 to 600 examples, it would cost you less than $20. So that's not an issue, and you would be using it for respond to reviews. So I do think it's a worth the cost, and yeah. So let's go to last step. We How to use this particular Pine model in pabbly and even on playground here. So now that we have a Pine model name, we have the Pine model name here. What we need to do is we need to refresh the page. We can see the name over here. Let me refresh the page. Once you do that, you would be able to see the name over here on this drop down. You can see here we have the point to models, a review example for YT. I would select this particular model. Then, like I mentioned in my previously, you would need to have a stop sequence for it to understand that we are asking it to stop when the response is made. Now that we need to have a prompt, I will just copy this and paste it over on playground. And I can also remove the next line. tags. Right now, if I click on send button, sorry, submit button, I would get a response to this review. So let me do that and see how this would go. That's it. We have the response to this now. Uh, Let me remove this again and try again. Yep, it is working. So let's try with a different review, for example. It's you can also notice that this is not the same as trained here, but it is we are using some of the examples to train the model, right? You can also see here we are using emails to help it to understand that we would need to provide email address in the response. So it is doing what it is supposed to do. You can see here. Thank you for kind words and recommendation. If you have any more questions, you can talk to us by sending an email to this particular email address, right? And let's try with some negative reviews, so it would help us to better understand how this is working. And let's search for some negative reviews. Okay, so let me see. Let me get it from my seat. I have it here. Okay, so I'll just copy the review text and paste it over here. And the rating will be 1. This let's keep that as it is. Let's remove this, and this submit button. Let's see how this would go. You can share we are still getting the email as a response, because we are asking, asking it to include the email address in every completion. You can share. Obviously you don't have to do this. You can also just include this in negative responses only. And right now, I was just playing around, so I just added every responses. So you can make sure of adding it to the negative responses only, so you can keep that in mind. And yeah, this is how it would work. And in order to use this particular model in your pabbly account, you need to select this particular model from your dropdown. So let me set up a workflow real quick and show you how this can be done. Okay, so I have the test flow here. I'm using the trigger to pull the response review comments, and using custom app to respond to this. You would be having a OpenAI direct native indication. You can use that directly. And right now, I'm able to see I'm able to see my fine tune models here. But if you don't see this, that's not an issue. I will also explain how you can use this. You would have to click on this view code. If you click on this, you would be able to see the model name here. You just have to copy this particular model name. Then you would have to click on map and paste it over here. That's it. You would be able to use this particular model without having to worry about anything else. So review comment would be this. And you send the request, it would respond back with something like this. Yeah, this is how you can use this. And let me recap the training part. I do think that that is extremely important than sharing how you can use the model. I would assume you would be able to use it without any issues, because you have the model already. You just have to just copy paste over here, right? And just let me recap this particular training part only. So you would upload a JSON file to OpenAI to get the file ID. You just have to make a one API call. If you make a multiple API calls, you would end up spending more time, spending more money. So once you make the API call, you would get a file ID. Once you get the file ID, you just need to copy this particular file ID and head over to the fine-tune task or API call. You just have to paste the ID here, and you need to enter something or some custom suffix here, then send the request. You need to make sure that you are sending a one request only. If you send a multiple request, you would be spending more money. But if you have more money, that's not an issue. You can go ahead and do a multiple request. But you can go ahead just make a one API call with this particular file ID. It would take 15 to 20 minutes to create a point tool model. Once you have a model, you just wait for you would wait for 15 minutes. Then you would copy this particular ID. This is the different ID, not file ID. That is different, and you would have to copy this file ID. Sorry, fine tune task ID. Then you would have to go to this retrieve point tune model API token. API and call, and you would have to paste it over here and send the request. You would get something like this. If you see success and with the model name, and that's it. You can go ahead and use this. This is how you can fine tune the model, and you can also use it with your pabbly connect, or you can also use it in your playground. If you are using custom code, we just have to make sure of entering this particular model name, and that's it. It should work just fine for you, and it would cost you $6 to $7 for 200 examples. This particular JSON file has over 200 examples, so this would cost you like a 15 to $20 if you have 500 plus examples. So I would recommend you to have at least 500 examples, and it would cost you at least under $20, and that's it. Once you have the pointer model, you would be paying a separate cost for using this particular model. Let me see if I can find that. Yep, you would be paying something like this to use this particular model. It's not expensive, cheap as ChatGPT, but it is reasonable, and it is. I would think this is worth the cost of fine tuning the model. Yeah. So now we know that we can fine tune the model, but it is somewhat expensive when you are fine tuning a lot of data. But if you would want to explore an alternative option, here it is. You would need to have a really good prompt that you can use it to point to the model. Sorry, get the response better output. You can see the example here. We have one of the example prompt that I used previously, but it's better than fine tuning the model, right? You don't really need to spend them a lot of money, and you can also use this. But the one of the downside of using this particular prompt is that you need to have manual steps where you can approve the response, right? Because you don't want to really post the response directly, because some of the responses will be generic. So you can add manual steps to 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 respond to the user reviews. But you can have a prompt like this. You can see here there is an example prompt here, which you can use it for using it with the chat gpt, or you can also use with the other models. But I do recommend going with the fine tuning the model. It would be better. But if you are exploring the alternative options, and this is it, you can also go with this, and you can use the video, and write this down and use it and see how this would go. And do let me know how the output is to this particular prompt, and if you can improve this, it would be better. And also please do share this in the comments, so people will have a better chance of getting a prompt from your end as well. Yeah, that's it. This is the entire video, and if you like the content, I would really appreciate that if you subscribe to the channel, and if you like the content also, please do share with your friends, and feel free to let me know if you have any questions by typing in the comment section. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.